It's time to overturn this abortion nonsense. All right, you guys want to talk about abortion. That was one of the topics that progressively, no pun intended, over the years, my opinion changed drastically on it. Like drastically. Before, I always held a position of, it's your choice, your body, your choice, body autonomy. It's funny how body autonomy changes when we're getting on the topic of the, that thing, the Covivi treatment that I'll not name. But it was always, my body, my choice. And then it changed to, as I got older, it changed to, well, I'm not going to have an abortion, but if they want to, they can have an abortion. And then that went out the window the last couple of years. And the thing that really made me change my perspective on it was, first of all, when I started going down the rabbit hole of Black Lives Matter and then actually faced with the statistics of how many Black women abort their kids in compared to other races, it's astronomical. Like, it's really bad. And I'm looking at this like, okay, talking about Black Lives Matter, but do they though? Per the abortion industry, do they? So that was sort of the thing that solidified it for me. And then as more time went on, I started listening to a lot of arguments surrounding the pro-choice movement, and they don't make sense. They appeal to emotions, but when it comes down to it, it actually does not make sense. Like, for example, I saw one today where this woman was talking about we shouldn't be forced to give birth. No one's forcing you to give birth. Here's the other argument. We should have a choice to not give birth, okay? But you did have a choice. When you made that agreement to have sex with that other person, you understood that the result could be a child. I think a lot of the times when people use this pro-choice argument, they're looking at it from the perspective of, well, what do you mean I can't just have sex for pleasure? You can do whatever you want, but you have to acknowledge what the purpose of having sex was. It was to procreate. So if you're going into it with the intentions for pleasure, you're also co-signing on the fact that you could end up with a kid after this. So I reject that notion that it's you're taking away the choice of a woman. No, she made the choice when she was spread eagle. Okay, sure, we can talk about the low percent of sexual assault cases, which is very terrible. I hate that happens. But I don't know any other crime where a child would be punished for what the parents did. What other crime is there? Abortion is the only one. And I think it would be better and maybe more digestible for people to just call it what it is, call it murder. Because this is the other part of the argument that I learned over time, is that they'll say, okay, life begins at birth, is what a lot of people will say. So 9 months when it comes out, now it's a baby, but not when it's growing, right? So think about this for a second, is they'll say that it begins at birth. That's when life begins. And then they'll say the thing inside of you is a clump of cells, and that clump of cells isn't alive. Well, if something's not alive, it's not going to grow. I'm a clump of cells, and I started off this teeny, maybe tinier than that, and now look at me. So that's false. And it's also interesting when they say trust the experts on this. Okay, well, per scientists, small microorganisms found on Mars is equal to life, but these clumps of cells are not. Excuse me? I'm noticing some inconsistencies with this argument. And so that is what I have realized over the years, is a lot of these arguments aren't consistent. They appeal to emotions. And I think two of the underlining concerns for a society that welcomes abortion is, number one, it devalues the life of a human because that human isn't looked at as a human depending on where it is at a certain stage of their life. So if they're saying that the birth of the child is when that child is actually a life, that means that that essentially means that you are saying that that kid isn't deserving of human rights. And that sort of mindset is similar, and people will compare this to slavery, but I do agree with it. The underlining thing that compelled people to do despicable things to other human beings was the fact that they didn't see that human as worth having any life. And the same thing is subtly being said about kids that are in the womb. It's like they're not deserving of it because they don't match all of these criterias, mainly being you're in the stomach and you're not, vice versa. So I think that's the first thing. And then the other thing that I think the underlining concerns for a pro-abortion society is the fact that it discourages self-accountability. Because we can take it back to just wanting to have sex for pleasure. You're not being responsible with the decisions that you make. And I think that murdering the kid because you decided to do something with your body, that's now further enabling you to sort of hit the backspace button. Abort, baby. Don't want it. I want to go out and party. Yeah, no. No. So yeah, I'm excited. I would love to see a society with no abortion ever. And I'll pray that happens. But yeah, that's my opinion on that.